Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining Brooke and I today. And hey, Brooke, good to see you as
Hello.
always.
You too. It's been a little bit.
It has been, and we do apologize about that. It's Please forgive us. It's not that we don't want to do this. We obviously do, but sometimes just life gets in the way, and especially with the holidays going on, there was a lot happening that really prevented us from getting together. So definitely sorry on our part.
Yeah, it's been some energies.
Totally, totally. But we have an awesome show, and I think we've both have been getting some information about the same topic as usual, and there are a number of different facets in which we are going to tackle these topics today. But really, what we want to talk about is the idea and notion that we are our own teachers and that we don't necessarily have to follow like one particular person or thought process or anything like that. Like it is good to interact with individuals and to even listen to their teachings to see the perspective that they come from, but then to allow that to resonate within you and then to kind of grow it from there. Is that
Yeah, because we're constantly growing, and I will have people that listen to something that I've said in, like, say, a previous podcast, and to them it's like those words were written in stone to them.
hmm
Meanwhile, my perspective has changed since that podcast. Like, I may have said something that at the time was a truth in me and I felt strongly about. And then moving forward, I'm like, oh no, it's not really that. It's really more like this now. Because
yes.
we're all growing. No matter what stage we're at, we're growing. And it's like, oh gosh, you still, no. That's not even what I believe anymore. Because I've grown and because we're all always growing and learning more. And yeah,
It's so true, and I'll tell you something. This is a topic that actually it struck me early on in my path in my journey in on this path is that I would go to different teachers, right, and they would give you this such little pieces, and they'd want to charge you like thousands of dollars to continuously come back and learn from them, and I'm like, I don't it doesn't really resonate. Why are we not getting more? We're just getting such little bits. And this has nothing to do with money.
yeah,
And you go to a different teacher and then they would do something similar. And it really just I just never really understood or resonated with one teacher. And actually, you know who else didn't? Buddha, which I don't mean to bring up, but kind of do as well. He was also of the same way and continued to just pick pieces from different like leaders that he went to and would take them and then developed his own thing. And then
right.
obviously he found his complete enlightenment and is now an ascendant master. But what we want to avoid happening, in my opinion, in these situations is you don't want to be robbed of your own power, and if you keep holding on to
Right.
somebody else's words and like take our words and see what resonates and take that and go develop your own thing and do your own thing and be who you're meant to be, not who we are creating, you create it.
Yeah,
And
because I've said that so many times about how that can actually cause suffering
mhm,
when you're like, oh, well, that person, this could happen to them, and they're able to stay, oh, zen and centered. So if I can't, there must be something wrong with me. It's like, hey,
yeah,
maybe you're somebody that has to blow your top for 5 minutes and then you're good.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
ex-
Like, we're all different.
exactly, yeah. We're all different. We're all at different parts of the journey, whether we all may be ascending, but we may be ascending in a different way, ultimately going into the same direction or ending point, but we're all different and we have to honor our differences in
Hence the
all.
puzzle pieces.
Yes.
The puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Every picture on a puzzle is different.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that all goes together. One piece might have the yellow flowers, the other piece might have the blue flowers, the other piece might have a piece of a tree. All different pieces, but we all fit together.
And without your piece, the puzzle isn't complete.
Right.
So we need, or we want you guys to realize your own power. And this is what I'll say about your own power. It is only limited by your thoughts. So stop thinking and know that whatever you want, you can create. And that message has been coming to me so much, in that it is really the limiting thinking that we have, that stops you from going as far as you can. If you're willing to work for it and put effort in that direction, regardless of how quickly or slow it happens, it will happen. You just got to go do it.
Yeah.
Be yourself, do your thing, and it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yep. Be your light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that might even be something, that we've kind of said before. I feel like it is, but it's an important aspect. Don't, go out there, get information, read books, listen to people, and then see what resonates, and take it all together, put it together to make yourself. Another thing that I find is very, very important, and this is another thing that at least I've been getting lately, is sacrifice. So many people want to they want to be a certain way, and they want to obtain a certain thing, like, oh, I want to get spiritual communication, but they don't want to put that work into it. I don't want to meditate, or I don't want to be mindful, or I don't want to, whatever it is. Or, oh, I need to do my gardening before I meditate, because I need to get my gardening done. Well, sacrifice is a huge aspect in this. And there are certain things that we have to give up, but that's just part of the process. Like, Brooke, I know if I ask you what you've given up since you've done this, I mean, there's got to be some things that you have given up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I think about sacrifice, I think about so many aspects of it.
And there
Because
are, yep,
I do believe that we are supposed to go from a place of, self-serving to service of others,
exactly.
and
Hmm.
then there's finding the balance of that. Because in everything there's a duality. It's okay sometimes for things to be of personal gain,
Hmm.
so it's like if you're trying to make a decision about something, and like you have to ask yourself, like, okay, is my decision based on I'm trying to like get something for myself, or is my decision based on I'm trying to actually help the growth of others, and is this decision going to be the best decision for this situation, or is it just personal? And we all have that personal gain in things, and so sometimes you have to sacrifice what you would think of just for yourself, knowing that if you do or don't do this certain thing, that it's going to actually be more beneficial for the collective, or
Hmm.
for this group or this person that you're with. But yeah, as far as the basic question of, you know this path on spirituality, um yeah, my biggest thing is just feeling useful, is walking around my house, picking stuff up and putting it down and cleaning, and I feel like I have to clean, clean, clean all the time, or be doing something productive. And so for me to sit down or to meditate, I felt like I wasn't being productive.
Hmm.
I felt like I was being lazy, or it took me a while to actually even learn to sit still.
Yep.
And I want to say I started practicing years ago, even sitting down and eating a bowl of cereal, because I would leave like food on the counter and take a bite and run around and take a bite and run around. So for me, just even being able to sit was huge. So the mind, like, than to sit and be mindful and to actually eat your bowl of cereal and relax. And so that's where it kind of all started with me. It was very simple of just going, hey, Brooke, sit down.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's and what we should realize there is that really is powerful, what you just explained, that idea of not having, or really not giving yourself that time to be with yourself, and in that moment, and now taking it back. I mean, that really is, that that is, you're sacrificing, like, your ego there, if you
Yeah.
will, which is so beautiful. And really, a lot of these sacrifices do come from the ego. sacrificing meaning what we're giving up. They are the ego's thought of, hey, this is something that I need, or this is something that I want. So, like, for instance, I used to go to a lot of concerts or go to a lot of hockey games, like Philadelphia Flyers games. And I started to realize that, these are times I would go by myself, you know, but these are times when I could, maybe whatever it is, like help somebody or meditate or do something that was more productive for me. And maybe the Flyers games and the concerts are a bad references, but you guys get the point. It's just basically, hey, what do I want more? Do I want my spiritual contact, my spiritual development, my soul purpose, my soul work? Do I want that as the primary, or is my need or thought that I need to do the dishes at this very moment, rather than, hey, my kids are, off doing something, I could take this time to, be with myself and sit with myself and really quiet my mind. I feel is it's just definitely something that has been coming up a lot lately.
The hardest part of it all, oh, go ahead.
No, go.
The hardest part of it all is finding that balance.
Hmm.
Because, going to that Flyers game, you might smile and say hello to somebody that you may have changed their life. You may have taken your kid and it may have been a moment in their life. So it's about finding that balance, because we still want to live this life that we're in here in a
Hmm.
certain way to
Hmm.
make changes and differences for other people.
Hmm.
But then we also want to make sure that we are doing the work within ourselves and making the time for that. But it's definitely about the balance of living this life. And that's why that part on that movie Soul that I was telling you about
Oh yeah.
hit me. But I want you to say what you were going to say first before I go into that part.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, a lot of us right now also are struggling with different aspects of, like, um, life and where things are going in the country and government and all that stuff. And, you know, what is more important, your peace of mind or your desire to resist certain changes? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And yes, definitely be aware of the pull that you feel, but know enough to understand the difference between the ego mind's pull and the soul's pull. That's a
Yeah.
huge distinction.
Yeah. And there was a time yesterday where a situation came up that I had an even bigger epiphany. We all hear all the time that we are multidimensional,
Hmm.
and it's like, well, what does that mean that we are multidimensional? And for me personally, the personal truth of that to me is that, okay, we have Brooke. And I told you this before. I suggest everybody does this. It makes dealing with situations or making decisions, or it really puts you more in a mindful state of when you're making a decision or trying to figure out how to react to a situation. So I am Brooke, and then I've given my higher self a name. Actually, I didn't give it. I think I would have came up with something cooler. It was given to me. It's Imogen. So Imogen is the name of my higher self. And then I gave my ego a name. And I don't even know and I actually love the name. And it's okay, because sometimes for like that lower self, for that ego name, some people actually give it a name that, like, of maybe somebody they don't really like, or somebody that gets on their nerves, like that name. But
Hmm.
mine's Frenchie. And I actually like Frenchie. You know what I mean? Like, she helps me out too. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't always have the best, like, Frenchie was talking to you before this podcast. You know what I mean? So she's not bad. She's not bad, but she does add that opposing force to Imogen.
Hmm.
And so it's Brooke's job to take, when making a decision, like, okay, what does Imogen have to say about this? Let me think. Okay, well, obviously, my higher self is going to do nothing but send love and light to this situation. And blessings, namaste. And she's going to go on and have a good day. Now, Frenchie wants to keep going back and going, well, I got something else to say about that. Oh, one more thing. Oh,
Hmm.
and so Brooke has to take a little bit, like, I used to like stomp on ego. I used to give ego a really bad rap. Ego has a purpose. Frenchie has a big purpose. And so I listened to Frenchie a little bit, and then I listened to Imogen a little bit. And then Brooke tries to find that balance between making sense of what they're both trying to say. And I think about what is going to come out with the greatest good, not my personal gain, but what is going to be the greatest good. If I keep yapping, am I really helping the situation? Or how can Brooke move forward and make this better?
Yep.
Taking both Frenchie and Imogen's things and me finding the balance and how to make that work best for being here on the earth plane, not being up there where everything is kind of fine and dandy, not being down here where everything is just but being here on the earth plane. How is Brooke going to bring those two together to make the balance, to make the best decision? So I highly suggest playing that game of giving your higher self a name, lower self, and then having that 3-person conversation when making decisions.
And actually, and you just explained sacrifice too. Like you are sacrificing that desire to stay in that low vibrational mindset to rise above, and that is huge. And that's that right there. Like these are the types of sacrifices we're talking about, in addition to maybe
Yeah.
time or things you feel you need and aren't necessarily right. I mean, that's right
There was
there.
a situation yesterday that Frenchie was just, well, and and one more thing. And I went, whoa, okay, Brooke, Imogen, I'm gonna need your help on this one, because this I'm not helping the situation. Am I making myself feel better? Yeah, of course. I was feeling good. I was feeling self-righteous. I was feeling, but was that the best? Was that the best for everybody involved? Was that the best for the person who was actually in the middle hurting? Was I actually helping her by, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like you can't think about yourself. And so
yeah,
yeah, there's the sacrifice. It's not all
totally.
about you. It's not all, you know.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
then there's such a catch 22 with all this stuff, because sometimes there are situations and times that you do have to make it about yourself. So it's so tricky. So it's really using your discernment.
Oh,
It's using your discernment.
absolutely. Well, I'll give you an example there. Last year at this very time, exactly 1 year ago this week, um, I was getting ready to quit my job, and
Mhm.
we were coming up on a major audit, and it was one that my boss was extremely scared about. But
Mhm.
he lived in that he lived in that low vibrational state, and I knew this was not for me anymore. I knew this wasn't my path anymore. I knew this wasn't the type of work I wanted to do anymore, that I needed to align myself better. And I also knew that if I left at this time, that it would really impact him in a low vibrational way. But I knew also that I couldn't stay there anymore, that it was time for me to go. And when I put my notice in, he got extremely angry, frustrated, couldn't believe what I was doing, said I was leaving him hanging. But I'm like, you know what? My sacrifice, my sacrifice was giving up everything that I thought I was, working with computers and helping people in that aspect. That's what I thought I was
Which you
here
were
for.
really happy in that job at one point.
I
Really
loved
happy.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how you know when God's got that plan for you, because you can go from being like so like, yes, this is my thing, to it starts fading and fading, and it's just God guides, source, universe showing you that, okay, this was good for then, but now we're moving, you
Yeah.
know.
And well, my point there was that I knew it was going to affect him in a low vibrational way, but my sacrifice was, hey, I need to do it for my own good. And
Yeah.
sometimes, we do have to make those decisions that will impact people in a negative way. I've told you guys about my family many times, and that is something that is only we are going in way different directions. And but I'm willing to sacrifice that because I know my path forward is one that is a little bit more isolated than it currently is, from
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. So that's why I say it is tricky using that discernment. Like, I talk to a lot of young people that have a hard time making their decisions, because their decisions are based off, what would mom want me to do? What would dad want me to do? What would, my boyfriend want me to do? What would my spouse want me to do? And really, when it comes to the spiritual journey, there's times that you have to go, if you're trying to make everybody else happy, you're never going to be happy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look for where this journey is taking you, and you have to not go, what would mom say? What would dad say? If you're feeling it, you might have to make those sacrifices of breaking some chains, and I guarantee you it'll all work out in the end.
Totally.
It's like there's times that I know that my mom did not want me to do certain things, and it was so hard breaking away and making that decision that disappointed her so much. But in the long run, she ended up seeing how it unfolded. She would end up seeing and she'd go, oh, okay. I mean, it wasn't right away. There were sometimes years of struggle or of her maybe being disappointed. But then when she would see it come full circle, she would go, oh, now I know why you decided to do that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're not always going to get that either. And you can't just go, well, they'll see someday. Sometimes they won't. You really just have to make the decision when you know that it is your soul and your heart truly telling you, and you've used your discernment to make sure that this isn't an ego thing, and it's your path. You have to make some hard decisions sometimes.
Exactly. And really, you hit it on the head with it is the intuition, it is the soul that is going to be nudging you in those directions, not the thought. You got to go, you have to be aware of the feeling. And that's why we say it is so important to be your own light, to
Yeah.
be, and not necessarily follow someone else, because
Yeah.
if you do, you're taken away from your own power, from your own purpose. You need to be your own light, and you need to follow your own intuition so that it may take you to where you are meant to go.
Yeah. And I mean, and to be honest, there's times that nobody else can. I know when we're trying to make decisions, we start bouncing it off friends because we're waiting
Mm-hmm.
for that one person to give us approval. We're
Mm-hmm.
waiting for that one person to go, yeah, you should do that. But sometimes you're not going to get that answer,
Yeah.
and you really have to follow your heart, even though you may not have one person backing you. But if you feel strong enough in your soul that that's what you have to do, but you're not always going to have somebody that's going to back you up, because I can look back. It's so weird when you think about moments in time. I can even look back at decisions I made, and me being a different person right now, I go, I can't believe I did that. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, like I
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
believe I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that time, and I really did that. Like almost looking back, it's crazy. I'm like I was crazy to make that decision. But it's where you're at that moment, and like no other person can know or understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Only why you're doing what you're doing. And I can look back and I can see like, oh man, my husband must have been like, what is she, crazy? My mom, no
Mm-hmm.
wonder she was mad at me, no wonder. But inside me, I knew what I was doing, because I know I was being led to do it.
Yep. And sometimes it even takes you time to figure out. Like, I'll give you, for instance, there was a guy, he came to me before, and he was like, Chris, I have this calling to the water. And he's like, I want to know what it means. And I'm like, brother, you have to spend some time with that, and sit with it and see what is happening to you, like, because I'm always talking to people about, you be your own light, you be your own power. So he kept coming to me and he's like, I don't know what's going on, Chris. I keep feeling this calling to the water. I know I need to be on the water. And this was a year. This guy has been talking to me about this. And one day he's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm getting a kayak and I'm going out on the ocean because I feel that I need to do it. No joke. This guy. So he he was with his family this one day, and he left for what turned out to be 2 hours, and his family was furious that he did that, but he came back with a kayak, and he goes, we're going to the beach today. That was already planned. And he goes, but I needed to do this today. I got a kayak and I'm going out on the ocean when we go to the beach. And his family was so mad that took him 2 hours to do all this. They wouldn't even talk to him. So they go to the beach, and he takes the kayak and he tries to get into the water with this kayak, and he's in the ocean, and he couldn't do it. Literally, he spent 45 minutes trying to get this kayak into the water and could not do it.
Yeah.
Well, so check this out. This is an amazing story, but this talks to you being your own light and following their guidance when the time is right. So he sat with it for a year. This day comes. He's trying to get it in the water. It doesn't work. Then, after 45 minutes of trying to get it in the water, he brings it back on the land. And he's like, whatever, man. I don't know what is going on. I can't get this thing out there. So he just sits there for a while. And all of a sudden, dolphins start swimming by in the ocean. Right? They're swimming by, and he goes, "Oh my God, that's why I'm here. I need to be with those dolphins." No kidding. No kidding. Now, the waves were so intense the first time he went out there, he could not get this kayak out. And he grabs his kayak and he turns around and he swears to me, he goes, "Chris, the whole ocean just went, ooh." He
Yeah.
got the kayak out in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The second time when he saw the dolphins, he knew it. So he goes out there and he's with the dolphins, and the dolphins, they're not interacting with him, but they're swimming by him, and he could see
Right.
them just looking at him. Check
Yeah.
this out, though. But check this out. This even gets crazy. So the dolphins swim past him, and he goes, "Chris, I'm just sitting out there, and I just felt such peace out." And he was probably about maybe quarter of a mile off the beach in this kayak by himself, and he was just like, just sitting there, just appreciating the moment that he had to himself. And he goes, all of a sudden, I heard something, and I'm like, and he goes, and I turned around, and there was a woman, probably 25 yards, 50 yards from where I was, lateral from me, horizontally from me. So, like, almost a quarter of a mile out from the beach,
Yeah.
this lady was drowning. No kidding. So he's paddling over to her, and he finally gets to her. No kidding. His Now again, he was at the beach with his whole family. When he gets to the woman, he realizes that there are two people in the water trying to rescue her that were also drowning at that very moment. And he pulls them up on the kayak with the woman. They were his brothers. His brothers noticed the woman getting dragged out and calling for help, which he didn't at this moment. And his two brothers jumped into the water. There were no lifeguards on duty at this beach. They jumped in, went to save her. They were the only two people on the entire beach that was packed with no lifeguards that went out there. They went out there, but they were drowning because it was so far out. Everyone got on the beach, I mean on the kayak, and they all got back the to land because of that kayak. Ended up saving three lives that day.
Yes.
And for a year he didn't know what that purpose was, what that calling was. And that's what it was all about.
Yeah. And maybe never even rode the kayak again after that.
Yeah, he did. I do know that because we do talk a lot. But yeah, but that's the type of story where it's just like you have to sit with this. Sometimes
Yes.
you don't get the answers right when you want them to, but they will be revealed when it is time.
Yeah. That's why I tell people all the time, your opportunities are always there.
Hmm.
Like there are times that you are always being pulled, and sometimes we hear that pull loud and clear. Other times we're not responding to it, and but the bottom line is either way it's fine.
Exactly.
Like there will be another pull later.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, if there's one that you recognize and you're going with, but like don't be upset if you look back and go, oh man, I think that was a pull then and I didn't follow it. It's okay. It's okay. You'll be given other opportunities. But when you actually see it in play, that you know that you were at this exact place for an exact reason and you remember when that calling started, like it's amazing. You can't deny anything once those moments start happening, you
It's
know?
a beautiful point. Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and they will find a way, even if you feel like that was a pull and you missed it, like you were saying, they'll find a way to get you back there. And something else will
Yeah.
happen to try to get you on that path, because really ultimately we are trying to get back to that same path. So
Yeah.
okay, so we missed that turn, but there's another one right up ahead that we're going to bring you back to, you
Yeah.
know? So if you're just open to those moments of these sensations, these feelings, these messages, and just allowing the time to develop for you to understand their meaning, you will get there. and you
Yeah.
have to find great peace in that.
It's as simple as being open. And that's why I I wasn't going to. I got to bring it up again. That part in the movie Soul. And if you have not seen it, you have to watch it. Um the one part that just keeps standing out to me is when they're with the lost souls. And you see like the dark figures at the bottom, the lost souls. But then up top, you see these people like kind of sparkling and floating. And they are people that are in their zones, whether you're an artist or a musician, or
Mm-hmm.
I would even say that like when I do my cleaning thing, like I'm really putting myself in a zone, you know? But then they explained that there comes a time that those people in the zone, some of them become no different than the lost souls. And so here's the thing. So yes, if you are somebody who your downtime is painting a picture and you're going in that zone, like good 30 minutes, maybe an hour, you're working on this and you're in a zone, that may be healthy. That may be a nice escape, a healthy escape. But if you're somebody like, for instance, what I was doing was I was staying in this cleaning zone way too long. And what was maybe I really doing? Maybe I was avoiding certain thoughts. Maybe I was avoiding certain interactions. Maybe I was, but it kept me from living life. It's like there's people that, yeah, they go play the guitar for like maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes to stay in the zone. Then there's other people that they're doing nothing but looking up the next chords or listening to other people play the guitar, so they get so in their zone that they're missing out on everything else because their zone has been an escape for them.
Mm.
So yeah, everything is a healthy balance. If art or singing or dancing is what helps you relax and get in the zone for a little bit, but once it becomes an obsession, once that thing becomes an obsession is when it overtakes you and you're no different than a lost soul because you're just trying to escape through that thing constantly. But I just thought that part of the movie was just like I never thought about it that way before, you know.
Agree. As a matter of fact, I didn't even think about it during the movie until you brought that up because I did see it, and that entire perspective completely missed me, bypassed me until you brought that up, and I'm like, oh, no kidding. That does make a lot of sense, and the way that you put it is, in my opinion, is spot on. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, to be in the zone is great, is wonderful, is fine. But when you become obsessed
Yep.
with that zone, you're missing out on watching the sunset, watching the clouds roll by, maybe holding a hand with your kid, maybe just that simple hello to somebody outside. When you keep yourself, when you're obsessed with that, you miss out on so much other, and you're no different than a lost soul.
Well, and I would think even, like some of what we're saying is that same way. Like you don't want to be forever in this meditative state, to
Right.
where you're missing this this realm, this duality realm, the realm of duality in which we live.
Yeah.
We have to experience it because we're meant to grow, and we grow from the density that is within this realm, but we put ourselves in this meditative state to help us rise above and get more clarity and find our paths a little bit better, not to continuously be in it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a great point. Didn't even think about something like that. So, and if you guys haven't seen that movie, I definitely recommend it. It's good.
I'm gonna watch it again because I know I mean, it's like some parts I find were like very like, oh yeah, yeah. But then there were a few things that I was just like, wow, all right, like
Hmm.
especially that one, and it
Totally.
made so much sense. Even when we get staring at Facebook or scrolling, which I find myself in that, because what are we really doing? We're avoiding life, we're avoiding interactions with other people, we're avoiding, you know,
Oh my God, thank you for that. Brooke, you just brought up a great point. So, something that all right, so I've been getting a lot of information about like mm, multi-dimensional beings, I'll call them. Not angels or saints or angels or ascended masters, but
yeah,
multi-dimensional beings. Okay. Well, I was there was apparently some type of landing where this ET group landed in Africa at a school with children, you know, young children, like 8, 9 years old, 7 to 10, I'd guess, or even 5 to 10, and it landed, and it this is a true story out of Africa, and it landed and it came out, and they were interviewing these kids after the fact, and they were talking to the kids, and they said, well, what were you got, when you saw it, what did you think? Every one of the kids that saw this craft had the exact same thought, and that was it. And really what it came out after was that this thing was probably telepathically communicating with all of them at the same
Right.
time, and the message was technology is not taking us in a good direction. And you brought up Facebook, and that's such a great point. In these we get lost in these um technology platforms, and interacting with them, and doing things with them, and we sometimes miss,
Yeah.
and it's not something to be, as we said, scared about or frustrated with, but something to understand and be aware of, so that you can begin to change it. And it's something I'm working on changing as we speak, but
Yeah.
yeah, we can't inundate ourselves with
And
them.
that's all since the beginning of this podcast, the word that keeps over and over and over again is just balance, balance, balance.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, I do find myself I scroll because I don't ever sit down. Like I guess I blame my ADHD, my attention down into a higher dimension. But it's like it shuts my mind off because I'm just mindlessly scrolling. So I think we all have our different motives when it comes to these things. I think some people want to see the drama, or some people are looking for that person to argue with, or some people are looking for that person to inspire. Some people are looking for that person to uplift. Some people, so we all have, there's such different reasons why we all do the social media thing.
Hmm.
And I will say my whole thing for it has been, I love studying people. Like I love studying people, and I'm
Mm.
telling you, like, it is like that's my obsession with it. And I will tell you, when people don't think that we are moving ahead, I can tell you that just from me, and even looking back at my own time hops, even looking back at my own timelines, I promise you that whether it seems like it or not, we have grown.
Yeah.
We have grown as a collective. From the time I started like looking at how we all talked, or the things we were worried about, or the things we have moved forward. It's
Hmm.
like I feel like even now, I watched this guy explain it on a YouTube thing about if you look at some of your comparing Facebook things, like looking at like a 5D timeline versus a 3D. He's like, like go on one of your like spiritual sites, and like a good one where people are actually uplifting and stuff. And you'll see that that's more like a 5D timeline.
Hmm.
Then go back over to like maybe your regular Facebook and look at how, but I'm telling you that I have even seen my regular Facebook feed in just the last 2 years become more uplifting and inspiring.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like, yeah, there's always going to be people at a certain level that are just kind of got that, and it's their job. Maybe we always need that antagonist, or whatever you want to call it. We need that,
Hmm.
and they're always going to be there. But I'm telling you that we are growing, we are moving forward, and we are getting better. I know there's a lot of things on TV that like to show that we're not getting better, or things are getting worse. Man, I promise you we're getting better.
we you are absolutely right, and it's just our focus. So our focus, we are so much stronger than our society really recognizes yet. Your minds are so much powerful than we think, and if you continue to focus on the positive, on how we are one, you can overcome that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
but it
from
is.
the Discord that you see on Facebook and other social media platforms.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is what and maybe that's it. Maybe my timeline hasn't changed. Maybe the post that I focus on has changed.
Ooh.
But I
Ooh.
will, so that's just a deeper thought, you know what I'm
That is a
saying?
thought. I
But
like it.
but I will say that, like, I do feel like it's gotten better as a whole. But yeah, I mean, it might just be that I'm looking for those positive posts. I'm looking for those inspirational posts. I'm looking for those uplifting people.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's I'm always looking for the silver lining. I'm always looking for the good stuff, you know, and it changes your whole reality around you when you just start focusing on the good stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, so that's I'm good.
Yeah.
So all right,
Yeah.
cool. Then you get
I think that was
good stuff.
good stuff.
It really is. But you guys are so powerful. So hopefully
Yeah.
you embrace that power and really don't limit yourself by your thoughts and really begin to believe and know that you are capable. And when I say capable, I mean creating much more on this plane than you think you can, whether it be peace, whether it's love, you are capable. And you just got to put forth the effort, believe that you can, know that you can, and just do it. It will start to manifest itself, just like Brooks, what you pointed out, Brooke, with your timeline, how that changed. It changed with your mind, and whether it's your focus or whether it's a direct result of where you're going, it's changed nonetheless.
Yeah.
And all of you guys can do that too. So don't
Yep.
get wrapped up in, oh, I believe this and he believes that, so we're different.
Yeah.
We're all
Any,
one.
you know, and that's the thing that I've been finding lately. Like, even the things that are covered in flowers and stuff are still causing division. And like, that's where I'm at, if there is any belief or symbol or whatever that causes division between me and one other human being on this entire ball of earth floating through outer space, if you tell me something that's separate, that is separating me from that other person on the other side of the world, like, that's not my thing. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Hmm.
If it causes division in any way, it's not my thing.
Yeah. And by division, like, I do have to make it clear, because I try to be a very transparent person. When I say when I refer to division, if I don't disagree with someone, or if I think someone's carrying some heavy density, low vibration, it's not someone that I really care to associate with. My brother is someone like that, and I will distance myself from him. Now, when I do that, I love him the same. I care for him deeply on a soul's level, but I just don't care to be in that presence anymore, because it's not an energy I want to associate with right now. I'll change that, or I'll manifest my own energy from a distance outside of that presence. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. And that's why I say it's anything that we talk about, like, there's such a duality to everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it depends on in which way you're talking about this particular thing. But yeah, you're right. Like, I yeah, there's just such a duality to everything. And it's, you have to use your best judgment and your best discernment and what you and your soul are having this conversation about. Like, nobody else can tell you what you're going through except for you and your higher self,
Hmm.
you know?
True. All right. Cool. Um, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you. I was feeling stuff in the beginning, but it kind of I haven't been feeling as tense of energy. My child, we are here though. Archangel Michael speaking, and yes, we are back for a deeper understanding, a deeper acknowledgement, if you will, deeper knowing. For all souls are capable of manifesting our relationship with them. And yes, we say manifesting because it is through the soul's work through the human body that manifests our connection, our alignment, that is connected to the divinity. Your souls are attempting to connect directly with us, and for this we say thank you. And we do say it is extremely possible. There are aspects of truth, and you are your own light. This is definitely true, absolutely true. But at the same time, we do encourage deeper understandings through others' works, efforts, for there is much information that comes from so many on this plane. And we also ask for us not to diminish those that we disagree with, for their messages are important to hear and do cause us great, deeper levels of understanding through that discourse that we have with them. These energies are very important, vital to your own growth. As you hear them, you will understand what resonates and what does not. This is an aspect of growth. From this, we will learn much through you and thus allow for our energies to begin to work with you, through you, as a result of your growing from the lessons that have been learned through disagreements with others. It is important to understand that simply because we feel discord with another individual does not necessarily mean that this individual is not for us. We speak to Christopher at this time, for his brother is a representation of a being in his light. And although he is choosing to separate, it is not always something that is imperative for all. We do encourage greater peace and understandings when dealing with family members that are of different vibrational energies. There are times when these energies can be changed. It is something that must be felt from within. And in the case of Christopher, we understand this energy is not changing. However, it is also not always a matter of necessity to leave. It is also a necessity to show more restraint and love. But in Christopher's aspect, we do understand he is proceeding to cause, create distance. And this is okay, but a matter of understanding we bring to you now. It is not always this way. There are opportunities for growth in other ways that which we will bring to you through you and allow for the spirit soul to grow as a result of or in spite of the distance that is created. This is possible. Your beings going forward are potentially are have a potential to create great amounts of light in this realm should you also choose. Should the collective continue to rise as it will, but even more be energetically inclined to rise in conscious level, you will create an aspect on earth that is filled with complete love. We tell you now this is already being created. However, the more people that are intertwined into this conscious level, the greater the awareness becomes, the greater the power amongst people have. For each individual that brings forth our energy through their portals, more energy is created within this realm, brought within this realm, and thus we are able to work with it, through it. And for this, we are so grateful. We ask you now not to dwell upon the density. This is something that is not fruitful to your own development. Any of the discord that is caused between you and another, we simply ask for you to understand the differences and understand that this is a time that not all souls are ascending. This is important to understand, and we ask that you would not berate a child who doesn't know his multiplication at the age of 2, with the understanding that this child is still growing. We ask you to look upon those that you discord with this same notion that you are all still growing. And simply because you are not at a path yet that is open to receiving this energy, please understand that you will be in time. Should you so choose to continue to work in a direction that is in alignment with your growth, with the ascension process, this information will eventually flow to you. Likewise, with those that disagree with you, they are not at the time where their multiplications are being distributed to them, but in time they will. And your light and love that you shed upon them is helping greatly in their learning process. Be one with this notion and understanding. We ask that you do not discourage, or I think he's saying like talk about people. Yes, we do speak of this. This is not something to engage with, for we understand that you are growing and thus these individuals are growing as well. And we ask that you be one with this notion that these two are souls that are growing and learning from the density that they feel. Their souls are attempting to align with the physical, and this takes time, effort, and many lifetimes to begin to master. It is not something that happens over only a few lifetimes, it is many. And it is hard work and diligence that is brought about by many light beings, including guides, archangels, ascendant masters, and yes, even light beings that are and do interject into this realm their own abilities to assist you with your rising. It is a multitude of beings that are attempting to incorporate more light into this realm, and it is possible for you all to do it. Should you so choose love over discord, you will find and fill this realm with more love and light. You have the ability to create much, Archangel Michael speaking. It is only through the effort that you put forth and the willingness, the intent that you put forth into developing love, light, peace, that it will happen. The more that it is not focused upon and others are, there is misalignment. Focus upon what you are looking for rather than what you are not looking for, and you will find a way, my child. We will be in that mind space. We will be present in your energy at those moments to allow for the light to be revealed so that you may find a better way. And for this, we are grateful. Archangel Michael speaking. Go in peace, my children, and we thank you always. Enoch speaking. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for you are a being of light and of great purpose in this realm. But we are here to grow. As ascendant masters, we are here for you to call upon us, and we do ask that you call upon many of us to work through you. Archangel Michael of the Archangel realm is one of great power, wisdom, and love, light. But there are also many others that we are asking for you all to call through, for it is important to the building of more light beings in this realm that you call upon as many beings as you possibly can. Create lists in your mind of different ascendant masters, archangels, light beings, light messengers that are capable of coming through, and know in your mind, in your heart, that your communication with them is not only possible, but is actually present. It is just a matter of opening yourself up to their communication, Enoch speaking, and allowing your own gifts to develop so that you may begin to receive the messages as they are meant to be received. And for this, we are grateful. Go in peace, my children. Be one with each other in the heart space always. Connect to each other via the heart space. I can see everybody connecting at this moment through heart spaces, guys. Yes, for this is an image that we ask you to go out into this world with as you proceed along the streets of this world. We ask that you see and touch every individual that you cross paths with through the heart space, not through the mind, but through the heart. Feel their heart, be one with it. Know that they are also trying, in spite of their misalignment, if it is, be one with the knowing that they are believing and trying desperately to rise above this discord. And for this, we are so grateful. The image of the heart space is one that will always lead you in the right direction. And for this, we are grateful, my Father, my beings, my friends, you all. Go in peace and love. Thank you. Thank you, Enoch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, it was long, but I think it was very clear,
Yeah, yeah,
very,
yeah,
very clear. Um, yeah, I still want to listen to it a few times just because there was so much information, but it was very clear,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know?
Agree. And the heart space one was very, very interesting. I could actually feel that, like as it was as if I was walking down New York City, a street in New York City, and there were all these people that were walking past me on either side, and as I could literally see a heart touch every one of them. It was like
Yeah.
I was connecting with them.
That was, and that's, I could envision that as you were saying that. And that's how I like, that's how feel. And I actually use a little exercise with people because some people don't know how to feel energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one thing that I do to show them, like I'll take my mom and I'll put my hand over her heart and I'm like, okay, I said, focus all your attention to this spot here. Okay. And then I'll go, I love you so much. I love you so much. I'm like, did you like, and then you can't not feel that, when
Exactly.
somebody is, and she's like, yeah, it did. Because some people don't understand what it's like to feel energy. And I'm like, it's as simple as that. Have somebody say some wonderful, beautiful things to you while you're focused on that area of your body. And I'm telling you, like, you can't not feel that, you know? And so that's usually how I show people how that feels. Now is like, so we get so stuck up here, you know, and I said, so when you're thinking about a situation, feel it here. And then you send it from there. Like the Care Bears, man. That stuff was woke. They were ahead of the times.
Ooh, yeah, good point.
Yes. Spread it like the Care Bears. Yeah.
Good
I'm
point.
telling you, there's been, well, there's always been, whether you're talking about the beginning of time or not, there's always been more awake, and the spectrum here and there, because it takes all of us to guide all of us, to lead all of us, to learn lessons from all of us. It takes all of us, but they're always here. They've always been here. And that's why I say, like, some people, I guess, are too, I see people like kind of say they're too spiritual to watch TV or movies. And I mean, and hey, good for you that that's your path that you're on. I'm telling you, movies speak to me. Little cartoons speak to me. Little silly songs speak to me. And yeah, man, Care Bears is where it's at. Just send it.
Love that. Yeah, so true. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So again, we'll just end with, we are in a time, and just moving forward. The best thing we do moving forward is being in every moment as much as possible, being as kind to yourself as possible, being as kind to others as possible, and really in each situation, be mindful of how you want to react to the situation, or how you don't want to react, or how you want to make this decision moving forward. And that's what it is. It's just a series of moments and making the best decisions you can at the time, just moving forward. But I think things are getting better, and just got to be in that moment and just look for the beauty in everything.
True that.
Okay, love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you all so much. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.